following information is presented for discussion and educational purposes only and is not intended or provided as treatment information for any specific person or behavior. If you or a loved one is having behavioral difficulties, you are encouraged to seek professional consultation as soon as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 15 of Ask the Behavior Doctors. My name is Dr. Jacob Boney, and we're here in Scottsdale, Arizona at my practice called Scottsdale Pediatric Behavioral Services. We're here today answering your questions, talking about your interest, addressing concerns that you have as parents, professionals, and people who interact with children. So today, we're going to answer a question from a parent about honesty. So the question goes, my children and my preteens frequently tell lies to get themselves out of trouble. I'm really big on honesty, and I can't figure out how to get my kids to stop lying and to start being more honest. What should I do to get my kids to tell the truth more frequently? So this is a great question. It's a very common behavioral issue I have with many of my patients. Kids as young as soon as they can talk, 2, 3, all the way up to obviously, full-blown adults can frequently lie, tell lies, be dishonest, say things that aren't necessarily the truth. So parents really want to know how do they increase truth-telling behaviors? How do they get rid of lying? So very, very common issue. So one thing I want to tell parents is you have to make honesty an important behavior. You have to make it a priority. You have to make telling the truth, being open, being transparent an emphasis. You have to model that behavior. So I tell parents the rewards for honesty must be more than the reward for not getting caught. Remember, most children typically are going to lie for what's called negative reinforcement. They lie to escape the threat of something aversive or punishing. So most children are going to lie not because there's any real cost to lying, but because the benefit to lying is to getting out of trouble. And they're also going to lie because there's no real benefit to being honest. So parents, you've got to totally switch that. You've got to make it really, really important. You've got to make it pay really well to be as honest as possible. So dishonesty and lying behaviors are typically going to occur more frequently with parents who do the following things. Parents who are overly tend to negative or non-preferred behaviors. Parents who overly rely on aversives such as screaming, yelling, cursing, and removals. Parents who assume children need to be caught doing naughty things in the act. Parents who argue and bicker with their children. Parents who have frequent aversive interactions and power struggles with their kids. Parents who use minimal amounts of positive reinforcement. Parents who punish the truth by screaming, yelling, and highlighting negative behaviors in nagging conversations. For example, a parent might discover, oh my gosh, Johnny, I just caught you lying. How awful. I can't believe you did this awful thing and then you lied to me about it. Again, having extended conversations about that, all you do is just making getting caught aversive. You don't make being honest any more rewarding by doing that. And then parents who provide too many opportunities to lie. This is one of the simplest mistakes I see parents make all the time, is even when they know their child's going to lie to them, they still give the child the opportunity to lie. They'll catch the kid red-handed in the act of doing something, and then they'll say, Johnny, what were you doing? Mom just caught you. I just saw you doing what you were doing. What were you doing? And then, of course, the child, because of habit and conditioning, may say something like, I don't know, or I didn't know what I was doing, or nothing. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Parents, again, don't provide your children opportunities to lie any more than necessary. So I wanted to give some ideas to parents to increase the rate of honest, open, disclosure type of behavior, okay? So obviously the number one thing for parents, model honest, open, transparent behavior as the parent. Admit faults admit mistakes, admit when you do things wrong with your kids. They're smarter than you think they are. They notice when you mess up. They're going to notice if maybe you did something you're not so proud of. If you're honest with your children in front of your children, they're more likely to see that and see you as a model of that type of behavior, and to see you as a person who appreciates being honest if you model that honesty. Make it clear to your kids that honest behavior is important to you. That's essential for you to have them be honest with you and you to be honest with them, so that you can really build that sense of trust. Reduce opportunities to lie. Just briefly mention this. Reduce those opportunities as much as possible. If you catch your kid doing something, or if you know your child did something wrong, don't ask them what they were doing, or don't ask them to tell you some elaborate story. If you knew what they were doing wrong, tell them you caught them. Tell them that what they're doing is wrong. Remove any access to a tangible item. Move past that behavior as quickly as possible, and then try to reinforce something good. If the behavior is awful and you caught your child doing it, well then implement some kind of consequence for doing that behavior, but don't get to some big, elaborate, drawn out argument or discussion about exactly what your child was doing. Remember, don't provide them with an opportunity to lie. By providing them with opportunities to lie, you teach them that learning history, that it's okay to lie to you, and that you're a sucker, or that you're gullible enough to be lied to. That's the last thing you want to teach your child to do. You want to teach your child that you're a pretty smart, observant person, and that when you see something obvious occurring, there's no need to even try and tell you a story, because you're just going to implement the consequence that needs to be implemented. Don't have nagging, repetitive conversations about the child's awful behaviors. Again, if you caught your child red-handed, or if you know your child's lying about something, or let's say this. Let's say your child obviously got in trouble at school. The teacher or the principal called you. Johnny gets into the car at the end of the day, and you say, Johnny, what did you do today? Tell me what happened. And then Johnny may have motivation to say, oh, nothing, or I don't know, I don't remember, or I'm not sure, Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. And then what happens is parents will typically get into this long, extended, drawn-out argument. Your child learns that you're mad at them, that you're going to yell at them, that you're going to demean them, that you're just going to highlight this negative, pessimistic type of behavior. Parent, there's no need. If you know what happened, have a brief conversation with your child about what happened. Tell them what you know, but don't draw out this long process of getting them or trying to squeeze the truth out of them. You want to encourage your child to tell you the truth, but you don't want to provide an opportunity to lie. So try not to be judgmental. Try to really adjust your tone. Try to make it easy to tell you the truth. Make it obvious that that's what you want to hear, that that's what will pay off in that moment, and that you're not going to react bad, or you're not going to react in an overly negative manner as long as they tell you the truth. So make that clear. Be willing to lessen a punishment for telling the truth. So, for example, you caught your child doing something, or you know your child did something bad, or you don't know and you ask, and then they tell you the truth. You know what, Mom? Yeah, I did steal some money out of your purse. Or you know what, Mom? Yeah, I did hit Johnny in the face. I'm sorry. Be willing to say to your child, you know what, I'm really disappointed that you did that behavior. However, I love that you told me the truth. So you know what, because you told me the truth, this is what's going to happen now as a result. Be willing to do that, and be willing to do that frequently. By doing that, you tell your child that it pays to tell you the truth. You want to send that message in all ways, all the time, that the truth is the only thing that matters, that you're not a sucker, you're not gullible, you're a smart person, and you deserve to be told the truth. You want an honest, transparent relationship with your child, and that the truth is what you expect at all times. So send that message frequently by being willing to reward telling the truth. Even if your kid screws up, they're kids, they're going to mess up. Be willing to reward the truth frequently. Look for opportunities to find your child telling the truth. Be willing to praise that. You know what, son, I'm really impressed that you were able to tell me the truth about that. I really, really appreciate that. You know how important that is to me, that you just told me the truth? I'm really proud of you, buddy. I think that was a difficult thing to admit. and I really appreciate that. Saying things like that to your kid, again, makes it really obvious that honesty is a really important young adult, young child, really important, responsible type of behavior to engage in. You send the message very loud and clear that you value that behavior, that you're going to reward that behavior, and that behavior will lead to more trust between you and your child. For children that frequently lie, or children that have a habit of being habitual liars, I like to tell parents to require extreme proof, require the burden of proof from your child to prove to you that they're telling the truth. So this is what I mean is believe behaviors more than words. Make your child show you that they're telling you the truth. For example, let's say your preteen went out with their friends and you think they went to a place they weren't supposed to go to. You can tell them straight up, hey, look, I'd like to see your receipt from the movie you went to with your friends. If you can provide me with the receipt, I'm going to feel comfortable that you're telling me the truth. If you can't provide me with the receipt, well, then it's going to be really hard for me to believe that you're telling me the whole story. I'm worried that you went somewhere beside the movies, and I want to believe you, and the best way for me to believe you is if you provide me with that receipt. So again, that's you requiring an extreme burden of proof on your child. You're telling them that, hey, your words sound good, but your behaviors are what will convince me. And you're also sending a message that honest people engage in open, honest, transparent behaviors. I expect you to go above and beyond to show me that you're being honest, that you're telling the truth. By doing this, you do a couple of things. Number one, you make it less easy or less apparent for your child to trick you or to deceive you. You make it harder to do that. Number two, you make it less likely that they're going to try and do it if they know that they have to go above and beyond to prove to you that they're being honest. Number three, you really condition your child that it's going to be their job to tell you the truth instead of your job to catch them lying. And remember, you need to make it their job to be honest with you. You're not an investigator. You shouldn't constantly have to doubt your child, but you have to be very, very consistent in believing behavior over words. You have to show them that you're going to believe what you see way more than what you hear. Emphasize this concept of transparency, parents. Transparent people are overly forthcoming. They are initiating in their openness, truthfulness. They don't have any hiding behaviors. They're literally opening the doors. They're showing you the truth through themselves. They're literally being as transparent as a window. They are demonstrating openly and forthcomingly their honesty and their truthfulness. Ways to do this. Discourage any type of hiding behaviors. Highlight hiding behaviors. Hey, you know what, Johnny? I feel like you're really hiding something from me right now. I don't feel like you're being really open with me. So by highlighting that, by noting that, you can make your child more aware that you're aware of their hiding behaviors. Require frequent communication with your child. Inspect their school and their graded materials. Really make sure that they're telling you the truth and really keeping you up to date about what exactly is going on in schools. Require unlocked doors at the home. Make sure that the child is timely. Make sure they're consistent. Make sure that they're volunteering information. You shouldn't have to go to them and pull out information about what's occurring. Have your child volunteer that info, really encourage that. And if they're not, tell them, hey, I feel like I'm really having to ask you a lot of questions here. If you really want to be transparent with me, I really want you to be a little bit more forthcoming with some of this info so that I don't have to ask you every time. Remember, parents, by doing this and initiating this process, and especially by you modeling this transparent behavior, you make it really obvious that not only do I expect you to be honest, but by being transparent, it's going to help me trust you and connect with you more. It's going to help me believe you, and it's going to help me provide you with more freedom if I can really believe that what you're doing and telling me is the absolute truth. All kids want freedom. All kids want the ability to be believed. All kids want to be trusted. That's the foundation of any healthy relationship, is that trust. So make sure that you emphasize that concept of transparency with your child so that you can foster that trusting relationship. Call it like you see it and reduce any opportunity to lie before there's even a chance. So parents, if you know your kid's full of it, if you know they're trying to BS you, if you know they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes, call it. Call it immediately. Tell them. Don't ask them. Don't give them an opportunity to argue. Just say, hey, I can tell that you're just not telling me the truth right now. And here's why. This is what I'm seeing, A, B, C. And this is why I feel like I can't trust you right now. And until I see these behaviors or hear something in this way, that's what I need to feel like I can believe what you're saying right now. So again, parents, call it like you see it. If you know your child is not telling you the whole story, you maybe think they're withholding something, tell them. And again, they'll be more likely to tell you the truth and less likely to try and continue hiding that. Provide lots of opportunities for your child to tell you the truth by having frequent, healthy, productive, and open conversations with your child that have nothing to do with criticizing their behavior, putting any kind of task demands, or having anything aversive about them or their choices. Make it easy to talk to you. Make it easy to tell you exactly what's going on. Provide them with those opportunities frequently. Parents, especially with children that are preteens or a little bit older, you need to have these opportunities frequently. And even consider, for a child that really has difficulty telling the truth, consider having conversations where you provide the opportunity to really be open and not get in so much trouble. You can even say, look, I really want to sit down with you and have an honest conversation. If you're just honest with me right now, it's going to help me feel like I can trust you, but you're going to get in less trouble if you just tell me the truth and be open with me now. So parents, remember, you should have these opportunities almost every single day with your child. You should sit down for at least 10 to 20 minutes and talk to your kid. By providing more frequent opportunities, you make it more likely that your child will tell you the truth on a more consistent basis. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of today. I want to thank you again for joining us today. I want you to please continue to submit your questions to us here at info@scottsdalepbs.com. We want to thank our photographer, Mr. Philip Carnevale of philipcarnevalephotography.com. We want to encourage you to continue submitting those questions, and we want to thank you, of course, for joining us here at Scottsdale Pediatric Behavioral Services and Ask the Behavior Doctor.